Guys, in this video, I'm gonna show you a really cool way to self-host n8n. A really cool low-code automation platform that I've discovered recently. And let me tell you, it's amazing. I've been using it in more and more client projects recently, and I thought it would be really great to share with you this workflow to make it even easier for your next project. And if you don't know me, my name is Julian, and I've been a full stack developer for almost 10 years now. In the last 2 years, I've worked more and more on AI applications and automation projects with small business owners, entrepreneurs, and startups, just like you. And if you would like to learn more, just check out the link in the description below and book a call to discuss your automation project. All right, so let's get started. So n8n already has really nice docs on self-hosting, either on Hetzner Cloud, DigitalOcean, or all the other services that you could really want to. And yeah, I've basically followed all this. I've just added Ansible, which is automation framework, to make it actually truly automized. So yeah, in the end, you'll be up and running in no time. And to follow along in this tutorial, you will need an account on Hetzner Cloud or on DigitalOcean. I will show both ways. So yeah, be sure to get your account ready. And you will also need a domain for this project to work. For this, I would recommend services like Namecheap or Porkbun, but we're gonna look at this later. Generally, the way they're supposed to do it, and what I've also followed, is deploying the whole setup with Docker Compose. And Docker Compose, you will set up n8n and also in this case Caddy, which is a reverse proxy, a really simple reverse proxy with like almost no configuration to get set up. And you will have automatic SSL certificates and yeah, everything else you would need to. I will now show you the Hetzner way and afterwards also the DigitalOcean way. So once you have set up your Hetzner account, you can go on create resource and service. And yeah, I would recommend you to pick the location that is closest to you probably. One thing that you should pay attention to is that you select apps here and Docker. Why? This will already get you set up with Docker and Docker Compose installed, so we don't have to take care of that later on. For now, we can simply go with the cheapest option, which is literally €3 per month. And otherwise, I would suggest you to set up your own SSH key. So I've already did that, so I'm just gonna select that here. And you could set up a firewall from here, but I've automated that anyways in the script. So we're just gonna skip that because I'm not sure, but I think DigitalOcean doesn't offer that option. And yeah, then you're basically done. So let's just give this a name and we're gonna create and buy. Our server is set up, so we can grab the IP here quickly and we can already continue with setting up the DNS record. And no worries, I have documented all of this also in the README of the GitHub repo, so you can look all that stuff up later on. And I'm gonna have Porkbun for my domains, and I'm gonna just head on to details, gonna go on DNS records, and you see I've done this before, and we're just gonna add an A record. We're gonna say for this one, we're gonna say n8n YouTube, and we're gonna put the value of our server IP and add this, and that's already done for here. Welcome to the code. So here we're just gonna configure a few things before we can run our actual deploy script. And let's just follow along what is already written in the README. Basically, we've just done this one. We've pointed our domain to our service IP address that we just copied before. Now we're just gonna set up our domain name and subdomain on the group vars all. So here we're gonna also set up a password, which is not really that relevant to be honest, because I'm gonna disable password login anyways. So we can only log in with our SSH public key. Also note here, I'm looking up a local file of an SSH key. If you haven't set up your SSH key yet, yeah, please just Google that. It's really easy to do. And subdomain n8n, that's fine. And otherwise, we're just gonna call this test thing. Oh no, sorry. We're gonna call that, because that's my domain. and then we had n8n YouTube. Back to the README, and then it tells us in inventory.yaml we should adapt the Ansible host. So let's go and do that. Ansible host your server IP, and we have that IP here. So we're all set up, and we can run the Ansible Playbook script. So we're just gonna copy that one, put it in the terminal and fire off, and we're gonna wait some. So you see it's gonna rush through all these tasks, and I will quickly also explain the tasks later on. But basically what it will do, it will set up a Docker user, it will turn off password authentication also for root, just to make it a bit more secure. It will set up the recommended firewall settings that also n8n recommends in the tutorial. So basically it will shut off all the ports except for HTTP and HTTPS and SSH. And then it gets into the specifics of creating the directory for n8n, because we will have to set up some directories so the Docker process can actually bind to them. So we will also have persistence even if the Docker service will restart. And we're gonna put the Docker Compose file on the server. We're gonna put a caddy config, which will take care of our SSL certificates, HTTPS. We're gonna put an update script so that we can run weekly updates on our n8n instance. And now we're already arrived at the last step. So basically we're gonna start the n8n container. And this step obviously takes a bit because it first has to fetch the images for Docker from the remote host. So usually because it's a fresh server and it doesn't have anything cached, it will just like get off and download all the stuff to fire off n8n and caddy. The setup is done. So let's go and check out our instance. Let's go check out our domain that we've just set up. And here we go. So now we can actually sign up. So let me just quickly sign up. You will have to do that on the first try. And sure, we're just gonna set up the basic information, YouTube obviously, and get started. And also they're gonna ask you if you want to get a free license key, which makes sense because like you see, you will have workflow history, so you can actually review your past workflow actions. You're also gonna have advanced debugging. As far as I know, also this gives you the chance to actually pin data in the workflows. And yeah, so just like, let's get it. And then we're all set up with n8n. So now let's speed run this for DigitalOcean. Logged in DigitalOcean, we go and spin up a droplet. And we're gonna put it in Frankfurt because we're in Germany. And the same thing that applies here, we go on the marketplace and we're gonna pick Docker. So we have already the pre-installed version. We're just gonna pick the cheapest that we can get, which is basic, regular, and you see it's double the price compared to Hetzner. I think, yeah, the smallest one is not available. I don't know why. Same thing, I'm gonna actually set up my SSH key from here and we're gonna create the droplet. And now we're just gonna let it spin up. And once we have the IP, we can run off and set up the DNS record. There you go. So you're gonna grab this little IP and we're gonna jump back into Porkbun and we're gonna just set this up to n8n -YouTube do DigitalOcean, and we're gonna put the value of the DigitalOcean IP in here and we're gonna add this. And now we're just gonna go back to the code, clean this up. We're gonna run into here. We really only have to change this little bit. And we're gonna go in here and change the IP. And then we're good to go to run the playbook and deploy it to our DigitalOcean server. I'm gonna be back once it's done. DigitalOcean is done. So let's go and check it out. So we're gonna go on to n8n -YouTube do, fire off. And here we go, we have our second n8n instance. And I'm not gonna go through this whole setup again, but if you like to use DigitalOcean, go ahead and use it. I think this setup should probably work for your regular EC2 instance. As far as I know, they also offer a Docker image, like a Docker start image, and any other Linode, I don't know, but it should be pretty server agnostic. Okay, so let's talk about the tech behind this. Ansible has actually been around for a while, but I think it's a really nice tool. Like, it's easy to read. It has this concept of playbooks. So there's basically this one playbook. I've also added, I think, pretty self-explanatory documentation to it. But yeah, we're basically gonna run through. We're setting up a Docker user. Like I already mentioned, we're gonna turn off password login. So we can only log in with the SSH key that we defined when we set up the server. We configured the firewall. So we basically shut off most of the ports and only leave these open that we actually need. We're doing the directory setup for n8n. Then we're gonna just create the necessary configuration files. So for mostly caddy. And we're gonna do the basic Docker setup. So we're gonna give the volumes that we need. And then last but not least, we're gonna start the Docker container with Docker Compose. And this is mostly copying some of these templates over. So the caddy file, very simple. I've just grabbed this from the repository also that n8n provides. The Docker Compose file also mostly the same like they do it in the tutorial. The only changes that might be interesting is I've actually included my own Docker file. Why? Because this way we can also install custom npm packages. So anything you want to have installed in this, which is also a benefit of self-hosting this, you can just install it here and it will be available. Just one thing that you have to keep in mind, you will have to set this node function allow external. You will have to specify the package here. So otherwise n8n won't allow you to use it. But yeah, basically with this setup, you can also use your own npm packages. Yeah, what else? There is an update script. I'm already setting up a cron job on the server. So this runs once per week and we'll just like get the latest version of n8n. So we're always up to date. And they also recommend to run these rather often because you don't want to get too much of a difference in the versions, because this just increases the risk that something breaks on the update. So this just runs once a week. It's gonna write the log. Yeah, that's all the templates that we're gonna put there. And have a look through the playbook. I don't want to explain every single step, but basically it's just doing all the stuff that you would do manually for you, so you can get up and running on any server in no time really. And everything that we've talked about is also written down in this README. And I'm going to attach the link to the code in the description. With that, we're basically done. Just to show you that we can actually use these npm packages now here in our code. If we add a custom code node, we can simply paste in this code. So we've installed this inspirational quotes package, and it's always important that you will return an object from these code nodes, otherwise n8n will also complain. And then we can go and set up, and yeah, every failure brings with it the seed of an equivalent success. So with that, I thank you very much for your attention. Thank you so much for watching. I might extend this series in the future with even more self-hosted automation tools. So if you would like to follow along, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and let me know what you think in the comments.